Y'all ever mull over how much piracy you want to do at like the scalable level? Because, you know, you can visit a piracy website and technically it's not illegal, because what constitutes piracy is that you're redistributing somebody else's copyrighted content. Viewing that content isn't illegal because you can't make the witnessing of any given thing actually genuinely illegal. That would be like George Orwell, 1984. So it's the redistribution, which means that you can actually technically lawfully go so far as to download entire seasons of any given show or entire films, all within like free parameters, right? You just can't give that information out to other people. That's what makes it illegal. And like, even then, it's like, what are you afraid of? It's not like cops are going out looking for counterfeit or not counterfeiting. It's not called counterfeiting. It's called piracy. It's not like cops are going out looking for pirates, right? They're looking for the large scale guys, the ones that are hosting the websites. They're looking for those guys, and most of those guys are international, right? So you can't even really get them with local copyright law. They're not looking for like Lil Jimmy with his USB stick of like 5 episodes of like the Power Rangers, right? That's never been what they're looking for. But unfortunately, we have a generation filled with people who are content to pay Netflix an inflated subscription price for some f***ing reason. I don't know why, but it's true. Actually, you know what? I think that's more of a millennial thing than a Gen Z thing, because Gen Z doesn't have nearly enough money to actually pay for a subscription anymore. Also, by the way, that thumbnail literally is just like a 5-second brain blast. I just had the thought. Pibb, honestly, my favorite soda of all time. Recently, I think Coca-Cola ended its distribution contract with Dr. Pepper, specifically in Nevada and California. So Mr. Pibb is making a resurgence in those regions, which makes me really happy because I've always really liked Mr. Pibb, and it's not as easy to get Mr. Pibb, you know, especially in restaurants and stuff like that. So, although I've got a question though. Is Mr. Pibb the same as Pibb Extra? I fear maybe not. And if not, are they just gonna like sack the Pibb Extra? Because that's what I really like. It's got like this really cool like water design on the bottle or on the can that's orange. I don't want that to go away. Also, if you can't tell, I'm dealing with allergies at this current moment. Since this is the save that I already finished, I don't think they're gonna play the cutscene where Jim jumps off after I get up there this direction. I don't even know if they're going to trigger the achievement for it either, but I guess we'll have to see. If not, I'll have to do the man breaker all over again on a fresh save, which, I'm not super opposed to. But what I'm really trying to do in this save is get all of the fruits and also do all of the fire tower quests. I think that would be good. I'm curious, though, if the market is open for someone to be the GOAT speedrunner of this game, because I think I would like to learn about how to speedrun this game, although I imagine it might be the skill floor for the technicality of some movements might be a little bit much. So I've gotten as far as that metal bar out there. I think maybe even a little further to that little screwed in ledge over there, but we'll have to see where this takes us. I feel good. Who knew that I wouldn't? I feel good. I wonder how many hours I have in this game. Let's do it. Okay. Oh, that was close. Whew. That was like excessively close, by the way. I'm convinced that in this game, the longer the more hours you put into it, the better Nate is at like getting leg strength and being balanced. Oh, That's fine. It's fine. Man, that's what rage games like this are so good for, is that like there's a certain value to the proprietary experience of any given streamer playing games like this, where it just inherently makes it exciting, even though it's the exact same game that anybody else would be playing at the time of its meta, which I think the meta for this game is over. Probably long gone by now, but I don't know. I kind of like it. There's a certain threshold of joy that I derive from these games, not because of like how difficult or like how masochistic I can be, but because it feels good to master a skill that a lot of other people would just be too impatient to master. It's right within the margin of tolerance for patience for me. How about that? There we go. Lovely. Okay, I might not get the achievement for this or the cutscene. It would be really nice if I got the cutscene for this. Yeah, I get neither. But that's okay. You know, I feel some pride in that I beat that for the first time on stream. So fruits, right? I mean, I've gotten a lot. I'm pretty sure this one up here is a lemon. That's the only one in this particular section, I think. I'm pretty sure I already got that one. Oh, speaking of ice, I've been doing some ice skating on my free time. I figured the skill of ice skating is gonna be pretty useful for dates and stuff like that, because it kind of relinquishes the touch barrier. And learning to skate backwards, which is what I'm doing also, it's pretty fun. It's a very, I wouldn't say cathartic experience, but I would call it like it's kind of like the same way that I view this game, is that it's like once you get it, you get it. Yeah, I was visiting the eye doctor today. I realized to myself how much different it is to visit an eye doctor than it is to visit like a dentist, right? Because whereas you can get like criticized for taking poor care of your body at the dentist, and it's like kind of impossible to actually impress them no matter how much brushing or flossing you do, it's not that way with the eye doctor, because it's like, what, you're not like brushing your eyes or flossing your eyes every day? I mean, your eyes are just your eyes. They're just trying to help you. It's not like any of your health choices are really going to affect your eyesight beyond like a couple of niche things. I live near a lot of mountain towns, and a lot of folks that, okay, that's the cabin, by the way, but let me just rest here for a second. A lot of folks in like the 1800, like the mid to late 1800s, they moved to mountain towns and like created little cabins up there, not because of like vacation or anything like that, because they definitely couldn't do that in the 1800s. In the 1800s, they still didn't know how tuberculosis worked. So they figured a change in your natural climate would help you get over your tuberculosis, or what they called at the time consumption. You know, a lot of the stuff up in these mountain towns is touristy just because it has more to do with health than anything. I feel like with any sickness, there's always going to be some embarrassing things about it. Because it's not the sexy you laying down in bed and like putting your hand over your forehead like a damsel in distress, right? And then being pale and maybe sweating and coughing and sneezing. It's almost never just that. It's almost always the puking and the sharding. You get hives sometimes too. I remember getting hives as a kid. It was a very odd experience. But I mean, that's just how the human body works. I wonder if we'll ever get around to destigmatizing that. Just because something is like gross as it pertains to society doesn't necessarily mean that it's like something we shouldn't talk about. Or maybe it is. I don't know. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Beautiful boy. The one thing about living off the grid in the middle of the woods, you really need to be down to defending yourself. Yeah, man, you gotta own a gun. It'd be kind of awesome to defend myself against a bear, you know, just like conceptually. I would imagine that most afterlife fever dreams, like the significant things about them would be that you're able to fly, right? I wouldn't be very happy if I had to actually genuinely like stomp around on my feet all day to get anywhere. I wouldn't be happy with that. That'd be torture, really. If you can fly, you know, I think it makes that experience a whole lot better. But yeah, you have to be down to defending yourself, which, you know, it depends on how many laws you want to break, because you can put like bear traps out, bear mace. I don't think it's called bear mace. Bear mace. Bear spray, you know? I mean, me personally, it'd be kind of awesome to use a gun maybe, but, you know, I'm already enough of a gun guy, and it probably isn't legally the first line of defense for you to use a gun against like a dangerous creature like a bear. So that's a little bit unfortunate, but this is one of the things I would do as a ghost, just traveling the world. Isn't like the concept of like most ghosts in fiction is that like they specifically exist and are where they are in order to haunt people in the locations in which they're found. Like that one show with like the scout leader guy that gets shot through the neck with an arrow. I can haunt people later. Yeah. I mean, if you're a ghost, right, and you're actually capable of haunting people, I would think that the best thing to do with an ability like that is to like, it's like the superpower of being invisible. You know, you can listen in on people's conversations, and there's like a marginal level of communication you can have with the real world. So you can literally probably go into the Pentagon, listen in on like classified information, and then espouse that information to whoever you want via like what? Like telephone bleeps or something. When you use a gun, especially to kill an animal instead of injure it, it's kind of more for sport, right? It's for hunting. And when you accidentally, well, I guess incidentally in this case, like kill an animal, it's going to affect the ecosystem. It's going to affect how many more bears there are going to be next year or whatever it is. And it's going to affect everything that much more, regardless of whether or not you were intending to hunt it. So it's like, you know, if you can stray away from accidentally hunting stuff, you know, quote unquote, that would be preferable. Flicker lights and Morse code. Yeah. Maybe that's the reason why ghosts don't exist, is because like if they did exist, they would be doing that, like genuinely.